You're live.
Yeah.
You are not in it. Oh wait, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
All right. I would try to stay in it.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, bounce
I'm
around.
going to really work on it.
Yes. Wait, is this mic good? Everything's all off in here today.
We're struggling.
It's an off. It's an off day today.
We'll get through it. It is an off day, literally.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Oh yeah, retweet. That was for you.
So this is what you printed out is for May.
Yes, correct. All right. You can go first when we do that. I'll just
Okay.
All right. Ready to roll?
Yes.
Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app at Elliott Shore Parks. Let me tell you, it is a rare day when and I know we've had it a few times in recent memory, but not often in Philadelphia sports history, where you come in after a massive weekend like NFL draft weekend, and literally everyone on the planet thinks that your GM is the best to ever do it. Like, it is that to the point where Peter Schrager is coming on the NFL Network and saying that other GMs in the league
I saw
are
that.
getting mad that Howie's getting praise. Well, first and foremost, do a better job, morons, like whatever. But like, I don't ever remember. Look, here we've known and we've talked for a while about how great Howie is and the job that he's done after, the down slope and the up,
Right.
But like 17 now, what he's done, we've been there, but like we are at the point where after this weekend, it feels like it is not just us anymore. Like everyone in America who talks about football is talking about Howie Roseman. Right
So,
now.
I mean, Howie has obviously had a very serious glow up, if we're being honest, right?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, yeah. Think about 2013, when prior to them hiring Chip, I believe it was no one wants to work with Howie.
Yep.
They're never going to get him.
Can't work with
They get
others,
Chip,
so-
who, ironically didn't get along with Howie, but it was a big hire. I mean, what I think's funny too is Howie is also, this is a small thing, but I think it really stands out to me in terms of just watching the come up of Howie. Like, he dresses way better. He's in better shape. He has a flat beard now. Like, the guy is just clicking on all cylinders. I'm being dead serious,
He's better in front of microphones.
He's still a little annoying in front of mics, but he's way better than he used to be.
He's better than he used to be. Like, he says nothing. He just talks in circles around people, and he jumps on people when he needs to, and doesn't when he's just.
Well,
when he is. Even to the, and this is going to sound really dumb, but I even noticed it. He is so confident. Even when they put that video of him calling Nolan Smith out, they do the whole talk to Nolan Smith, I'm a Florida guy, and then I'll think whatever. Like, even just the way, because someone calls for him and hands him, he just snatches the phone out of there. It's like, this guy is in complete control right now.
I mean, he's clicking on all cylinders, and it's interesting because what's interesting for me, I don't know if you ever feel this or not, but I don't want to be critical of the team, but I do think there's times when we're talking about the Eagles where I think to myself, okay, not everything they do is correct. They're going to make mistakes. Like, what am I missing here, right? But I'm being honest, when you think about the last, however many years, honestly, like full calendar year, the Jordan Davis one, I remember I wasn't that into, but then after meeting Jordan Davis, I understood it more, whatever. What's crazy about the Eagles, and what I think the Peter Schrager thing is hinting at, is maybe not all their moves work out, but at the time of their moves, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So when you're offering instant analysis on TV, or when you're writing columns or doing pods or Twitter, or whatever, there's just not been a lot of moves where they make them and your initial reaction is, well, that's weird, right? They didn't take, who was the tackle out of Tennessee? Darnell. Like, if they would have taken Darnell Wright at 10, that would have been a move where I think people would be like, whoa, that's out of the box. Like, let's figure out what we think about this. But a lot of moves that they make, again, trading for A.J. Brown, awesome move. Taking Devontae, awesome move. I mean, Jalen Hurts was definitely the last one where people ripped it.
Regner Hurts, back to back. That was the last time. That was the last moment.
But it's been a really long.
We had those moves with Howie. Like, now,
it's been a really long time since he's made a move where
3 years.
Where it was a head scratcher. It's crazy. It's already 3 years. When I was at Jalen's presser, he kept talking about how he's been in the league for 3 years. And the first 2 times he said, I thought to myself, oh, that's not right. But whatever, right. But you blocked 2020 out of your head.
Big time. For many reasons.
Right. Yeah. But it's weird. I mean, like, I do the National NFL pod thing I do every once in a while. Like, I try not to talk about the Eagles there, but it's impossible not to talk about them. Like, if I'm doing a pod about the best teams in the league, the Eagles are there. If I'm doing a pod about the best quarterback, the best head coach, Sirianni and Hurts are there.
Who just had the best draft?
Who had the best draft? Like, what was the best value pick? So, it's a good time to be in the Eagles content game. It's a good time to be an Eagles fan. I don't know what else to say, honestly. I mean, we have the title of this is what would you grade the draft? I mean, it's an A. It's an A.
I've not seen it. I think I saw an A- somewhere, and it was like, "What are you thinking?" Like,
right.
It's crazy.
And if I really want to nitpick, I could sit here and go, too many Georgia guys, and we're going to talk about that a little more. But yeah, I mean, everything he's doing is making sense. To the point of other general managers should just be better. This is what I was trying to say around the Hurts contract. There's just dumb general managers. Like, there just are. Again, the older I get. I think I've said this on the pod before, but I'll say it again. When you're younger, I think there's this perception that everybody that's in their role
is
competent and that is there by merit and that earned it, right? And now that I'm older and I'm around some of these guys, I'm not talking about the Eagles. I'm talking about league events.
Yeah, sure.
You sit there and you're just like, how is this guy running a team?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it with Howie too, where, and honestly, Lurie deserves credit for it, where he has stuck with him. And I think Howie is such a good example of giving people time. I've said this before, but Howie should have been fired multiple times. In the job cycle of how the NFL world works, there's probably 2 or 3 times where he should have been fired. He was fired, essentially.
Well,
right?
Yeah, to that point, just the fact that he wasn't.
He could have been fired after 2012 in some ways.
Especially, though, like with that thing, the fact that Jeffrey, kept him around. Didn't just fire him there, but was like, I'm going to give you a raise. I'm going to put you away for now, but I'm not getting rid of you like that. Jeff deserves a lot of credit.
He does. And then also during the 2020 season, I remember when the Eagles were going into Detroit with Nick Sirianni as a head coach. It was actually 2021.
That was 2021.
Yeah. They're going into Detroit. They just come off the Raiders loss, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I remember being on the pregame show and them saying, if they lose, if they lose this game today, do you think Sirianni would be fired? And I said, if anybody should be fired, it should be Howie, right? So there have been a ton of moments where it's like this thing could have gone the other way. And either through, obviously the team went on a winning streak, which mattered. But Howie has always survived. Whether he should have survived or didn't, at the end of the day, he's been doing this job for, 11 years now? When Andy was here, it was different because he wasn't the real general manager.
Yeah,
but he's seen everything. He's won Super Bowls. He's lost Super Bowls. He's had good seasons. He's had bad seasons. He's had high picks. He's had low picks. He's had quarterbacks. So much of why he's good right now is just experience and learning from it. I mean, we talked about on Go Birds Radio how all the decisions he makes now, you can point to when he's had similar types of decisions and he's made either the wrong one or a different one.
Yeah, no.
So it looks like he's learning from his mistakes. The suits are fly. The beard looks good. I mean, the guy is winning at life right now. He had on Travis Scott sneakers for the draft. I mean, he's clicking on all cylinders, and maybe one day there'll be mistakes and there will be a day when Howie's no longer here. But it was funny before you came in here, you were doing something real quick before we started to record. And me and Fritz were talking about how it's funny now that we've been doing this for a while. We can make historical references of so everyone's saying Steph Curry's Game 7 yesterday was the best Game 7 ever. And it's like, get out of here. Kyrie and LeBron in 2016 were better. More important game, they played better. And so, in 20 years, when me and you are still doing this, hopefully, we'll be able to sit here and say to people that are either new or younger or whatever, yeah, this general manager is good, but let me tell you about the run Howie Roseman had. That's what we're living through right now. It just
an
is.
All-time heater. It's one of the biggest heaters a general manager in the city has
and he
ever
knows
been
it.
on.
That's what I'm saying. He knows
and he's vibing it. He's feeling it. And I do think it comes from experience and reps and going through things and having the opportunity to set things right. Because to your point, a lot of general managers don't get that opportunity. A lot of general managers don't get to rebuild multiple times. Don't get to see what that's like. What caused the downfall? How do I come back from it? All that type of stuff is valuable experience in that role that a lot of people don't get to have enough of to really know how to respond and how to get better and all that stuff.
And I mean, Hurts almost didn't get it, right? They're
it's the way the not for long, right? I mean, that's
exactly
the thing people always say, and it's right. So it's been amazing watching this guy just operating at a different level than other people are operating at. He is masterclass. He was out there doing things that general managers in the NFL don't do. I said on the last pod, I think he's the best wheeler and dealer in the history of the NFL. And I don't even think that's a bold statement because they didn't used to wheel and deal that much. Wheeling and dealing is a somewhat relatively new thing to the NFL. And how he he again to the point where people are like, don't trade with Howie Roseman. Other general managers are mad about it. Like this guy is not just operating at a different level than he's operating at. He's operating at a different level than every other GM in the sport.
Well,
we talked about it. The Andrew Brand, he's a competitive, marketing advantage. He's a competitive advantage.
What I think's crazy too is there's obviously jealousy about Howie within the league. And, I'm at these league events. I'm not, Howie is popular, so don't take this the wrong way. But Howie is not Mr. hanging at the bar with 4 different general managers in front of everybody. And this is just what I see, right? But I guess the point I'm making is Howie is able to have people be jealous of him, not be, top dog in the room, cool guy, and still be maybe the most informed general manager in the league.
It's unbelievable.
And I think it's a real skill, whether it's hiring the right people to have around him who are getting information for him, whether it is him. He said once, I forget where he said this, and I'll credit Zach Berman of The Athletics. I heard him bring it up recently. Howie said like his biggest fear is going to bed at night and there's a player available that he doesn't know is available. And I think that's what you see in how he makes moves, right? I did think he was lying a little bit when he said that we had no interest in upgrading the running back room, but then DeAndre Swift became available, so we jumped at it. Like, you wouldn't jump at it if you weren't looking to upgrade. But whatever. The fact is, when players become available, he has former relationships. He has history with players. He has history with agents. So he's able to make things happen quickly.
Yeah, it's been,
again, also really quick. Auto download. And leave 5-star reviews. This might just be the way we do it. They're not like right off the top, but 6 or 7 minutes in. Look, we'll just say it. We hit auto download. It helps the pod, and leave a 5-star review because it makes me feel better. Deep down, it makes James feel better, and it helps the pod too.
It does it for Elliot.
Yeah. We're trying to be better at reminding people. Other pods
Yes. Other pods do it all the time.
Exactly.
We don't.
So we would appreciate it. If you're listening now, you're enjoying this, you've enjoyed the draft stuff. Yeah.
And then, But yes, it would be really nice.
It would
really mean a lot to us, and honestly, it would help people find the podcast and all that, and that's ultimately trying to grow this community.
Exactly. So let me ask you this:
Yes.
Do you think we're missing something with Howie?
No. I look, and again, I think the point. Look, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's so dumb to grade a draft in the moment, and it is in a lot of ways. I get that. But hold on, I'm going there. Relax. I got it. What I'm saying is obviously we won't know what these players are, but I think it is not dumb to grade a draft in the moment because you're just grading it on value, on perceived value, on what people thought, and all that, where guys should have gone versus where you got them, how you maneuvered to get those guys. So I do think it is fair to grade, and it's a different thing. It doesn't mean that those guys are automatically going to be superstars and vice versa with other players. It just means given the situation, the draft board, the way it fell, was able to take advantage of the situation and create value for themselves.
Yeah.
And Howie's a master at it. And he was masterful this weekend in so many spots. I'm going to get to the Georgia thing in a second. But, Howie, to that point, I think that all you can do is look at it in the moment, in the situation. Everyone's given the same deck of cards, essentially, and who wins the poker game, Howie won the poker game.
Yeah, and there's been this push on Twitter to say, because there's been a lot of articles about how the Eagles' value that they got compared to where players were supposed to go is really, really good. Keely Ringo in the fourth round. Obviously
rounder was projected to go
right.
Fifth,
so all those Nolan Smith at 30, even Jalen Carter, a lot of value there, even if it's 4 or 5 picks and the top 10, that's big. So there's been a lot of pushback on, this just shows draft boards were flawed. And I see some logic in that, but I also think it's important to note that those draft boards that are made, whether it's whoever, some of these draft boards do come from people talking to people around the league.
Most of them do.
Exactly. So I would
Daniel
guess
Jeremiah is doing a draft board by talking to people around the league. Like, he has his own opinions of players,
right?
But his mock draft or whatever is done based on what he's hearing, not what he's thinking.
I would guess every single general manager in the league would have told you Nolan Smith was going to get drafted before 30.
Absolutely.
So there is truth to it that when it comes to where they got players now, last year we said Nakobe Dean in the third was a steal. It could end up still being a steal, but there is truth to the fact that, yes, these guys have to perform. But at the end of the day, you're right. It's a card game. Like, it's a poker match. And how we got the best value out of his picks. And it's not just us saying it. It's everybody saying it. And that's what makes me feel more confident in being like, are we missing something? Are we too close to the situation? It's everybody saying that the Eagles had, if not the best draft, top 3, top 2, whatever.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Like, every single draft expert, any national talking head, like everyone across the league. Again, to the point where Peter Schrager has to report that other general, like, I can't say that enough. Like, Peter Schrager had to go on the NFL Network and report that there are other GMs that are mad that how he's getting too much praise.
Yeah.
Like, that's how masterful this guy was this weekend. Say what you want about, again, like, do better if you don't want Howie to get praised. But regardless, like the idea that it was to such the fervor, support of what Howie was doing across the league was so loud that general managers felt upset about it. Like, that's crazy.
And
man.
he deserves the praise from the weekend. We'll see how the picks play out. But yeah, it was. We'll talk about the final picks. I'm not a huge Tanner McGee guy, but we'll get into that. But at the end of the day,
okay, so you don't like the developmental quarterback.
Yeah,
I think we can get past that.
But at the end of the day,
they got a punter as UDFA.
I saw that. Yeah,
let's go, Ty Zettner.
And the punter seems very cool for what.
He seems like a blast.
Yeah,
and he's got a leg. He's a kicker and a punter too. Which is, dude can do it all.
Well, and that's the other thing the Eagles have going for him.
It is funny that I think there's a lot of he's as excited, or Eagles fans are as excited for him as they are for anyone.
I know. The other thing the Eagles have going for them right now, in terms of clicking on all cylinders, is people want to come here. So when DeAndre Swift, obviously he's from Philly, so that's a unique situation. But when DeAndre Swift finds out he's going to be traded by the Lions, of course he's like, yes, I want to come to Philadelphia. It's an awesome place to go. If you're a UDFA, if you're this punter, you're saying, yeah, I could be punting in the Super Bowl if I go to this team. If you're Eli Ricks, the cornerback out of Alabama they signed, who I really like, and there's no clear path to him playing here, but he's probably looking and going, yeah, why would I not want to go play in Philadelphia where I'd have a chance to win? They develop guys. They've shown they give UDFA real chances to play and to make the roster. So it just feels like all the hard work that Howie has done and everyone in the building is paying off at the same time.
Well, and it's also interesting, and you pointed this out to me, you tweeted it out about it is interesting the shots that they're taking on players. Obviously, Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter, that's what they are, but you look later in the draft, and Ringo's an example of someone who, if the draft had been a year before, probably would have been a first-round pick.
Yeah.
This guy, Ricks, in that big
board,
he was a top 5 pick or whatever, right? Or top 10 pick in that big board.
So the way too early mock draft from last year on Bleacher Report had 5 guys that the Eagles selected going in the first round. It was Ricks, two first-rounders, but then it was Ricks, Ringo, Nolan Smith, Carter, and the quarterback.
Yep, and the quarterback. So I do like the concept of, especially guys later, all these guys are 5-star recruits. They're taking athletes, and then taking a shot on guys who maybe were super hyped up guys who had all this talent or whatever, but had a bad year or a bad couple years or a bad situation or whatever. Take a shot on talent. I love that philosophy.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And I also think we said this on Go Birds Radio, but I'll repeat it. When you have a coaching staff that can develop and that can teach, then it makes more sense. If you have a coaching staff that hasn't shown they can make the most out of them, that's when you got all types of problems then. But that's when you take guys that are maybe more developed or guys that are more ready to play right there. But if you have a coaching staff and Doug's staff was not great at developing players. Yeah. Nick's staff has been. Guys have developed under him. So I can see why it makes sense to take those chances.
All right, coming up in a minute, I want to get into the Georgia of it all. But first,
already? So
20 minutes in or so, let's say.
Wow, it's already 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, 18 minutes.
Time flies. So it is May, which is wild. Crazy.
That was smooth right there.
Thank you.
This is how we do it.
It's May.
It is May. May 1.
Which is unbelievable.
May Day.
Yeah, it is. But so as part of that, every month we get new stuff from Window Nation. And they sent us a new thing and they wrote something. So here's what I'm going to do, James. You ready?
Ooh, yes.
I'm going to read it.
Okay.
And you jump in when you hear something you want to comment.
Okay. All right, good. I like this.
So the beginning already is really good because it's like an inside joke. Hi, it's James Seltzer and Elliot Shore Parks for Window Nation. So it's hi, he's Elliot, I'm James. Boom. Right off the bat.
Right off.
I kind of, since they're listeners, I feel like they knew that. So you can modernize and reinvest in your home today with new windows from Window Nation. 0% interest for 5 full years.
Boom.
Pretty crazy.
I mean, we talk again, not pretty crazy, absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Earmuffs 1, 2, 3. It's batshit. It's just crazy in a good way.
Yeah. So I currently don't need windows, but I feel like if you ever do need windows, knowing you wouldn't have to pay for or have 0 interest for 5 full years would certainly make taking the bullet of buying them a little easier.
Yeah. I would think
because whenever something's wrong, again, we've been through this. Whenever something's wrong in my house, the first thing I think is,
how much is it going to cost?
And it's just going to be, I'm going to do it up front and blah, blah. All right. So on top of that, you'll get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. So if you need 8 windows, you get 16 windows. If you need 4 windows, you get 8. More math.
Good work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a double deal. I like that. You'll get all of the advantages of more comfort, lower energy bills, higher home value, and with all the impeccable construction and expert installation Window Nation is known for. If your home is over 15 to 20 years old, this is one of the smartest investments you can make. It's true, especially if it's that old, you're probably going to sell it soon. And Window Nation is making it insanely easy and economical to do. So 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com and lock in these incredible savings. I'm going to run through it one more time. 0% interest for 5 years. That's 60 months interest free. That is wild. Me and Kristen got furniture recently and we got like 8 months and it felt like, oh, what a gift. So that's a lot longer. Plus the 2 free windows. For a limited time, don't miss out. Again, 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION or windownation.com and tell them you heard about it on GoBirds.
That's right. And here's what you do. Go to Window Nation, place your windows, get two free, get a bunch of windows,
Right.
get a bunch free.
Barely
no
pay.
interest. You're not paying any interest. You're saving all this money. Then you're saving all this interest. You're saving on getting the 2 free windows.
Yes.
You're budgeting for if you get 20 windows, you really don't have to budget for 10 instead of the 20. You know,
You really don't have to budget at all.
think about that, right? And you're budgeting, saving all this
Kristen
interest.
will probably disagree
Here's what
with
you
that.
do: you take that money, bang, right into the Bet Park
There it is.
Sportsbook app. Start winning and
Now's the
doubling
time
up
to
on
do
your
it.
money, baby.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
double deal, as one might say.
Double deal. See,
Yeah.
look at that. That's synergy right there. That's what we do. What are we doing here? Thank you. It's the NBA playoffs. There's action going on. There's baseball action. Futures, football futures. It just got so much more interesting. There's so much action to do. A little nervous about.
Well, so where are you at?
Sixers,
Let's just do 1 minute.
Yes, because
What-
by the time we do the Bet Parks picks pod later in the week, though, we've already had probably two
Two
games.
games.
This series.
Where are you at with Joel?
I mean, so I was thinking he was going to play game 1. I'm starting to think he's not going to play game 1. I think that they're going to lose to the Celtics.
Okay.
That's right.
So
That's
I've
right.
spent
And at no point have I changed that. I mean, that's pretty much where I've been. I was more hopeful for a little bit there and then less hopeful, but the entire season I thought they were going to lose in the second round of the Celtics, and I still think they're going to lose.
So I've been spending the last 24 hours pretty much constantly updating the Bet Parks app to see if the line's changing, to
Yes.
see if that means Joel news is coming.
Mhm.
It stayed pretty steady. I mean, it's at -10 now, so I guess it's moved 2 points in like
In the wrong
3 days. Yeah. So the Celtics are also,
And
I
the
think,
series odds, I believe, got worse too.
-490 last time I looked for the Celtics.
That is a massive favor.
Not
for the
good.
series.
But I've also been spending all morning comparing Joel's current shoot around videos to how his shoot around videos looked from a year ago.
Oh,
So this is how I've been living my life. I'm choosing to believe they're still going to win. I would bet on it if I were you,
Look
because
at you.
it is what it is.
I will say, I think the +10 tonight is a great bet
I agree.
because
If he plays, they get the boost.
If
If
he
he
play-
doesn't play, they steal one.
yeah, maybe they don't win the game, but like
They keep it close.
We've seen it so many times where teams going up against a team without their star player just don't go as hard.
Yep.
Like they win in the end. Usually they'll find a way to gut it out, but like they just like we saw with after they fell apart, but game 2 of that Clippers series when they almost stole it.
Yeah.
When Kawhi couldn't play, it was like they almost won that game
Yep.
because they
10
take
points
it
is a
lighter.
lot of points
It's a
in a
lot of
rivalry
points,
playoff
Yeah,
game.
especially because you can pick some up at the end and stuff. So here's the thing: go in, bang, +10. Use your Window Nation savings. Now it might be hard to get that quickly before you'd have to.
But
call
you'll
them
know deep
right
down.
now. You'll know deep down. You know where
Right.
it's coming from. It's all the same money,
Exactly.
ultimately, right? You know that is your saving.
Right.
You're putting into +10. Bang, you win that. And then who knows what happens? And again, the beautiful thing about the Bet Park Sportsbook app is you can bet on player performances. You can bet on who's going to score points tonight. You know, who's going to rebounds. All this stuff. You can do it in baseball, homers, strikeouts, all the good stuff. It is so much fun. It's easy to use. It's intuitive. And here's the deal. Your first bet, if you bet $10, first bet's a winner, $125 in bonus back. If your first bet, again, is a winner, the website has all the details and terms and conditions, winning bets, and bonus money back on the site. You must be 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey or Ohio. Gambling problem, going everything.
I'm just gonna be so bummed, man, if he doesn't play and they lose.
I
It just
know.
feels like
Especially because he's getting the MVP tomorrow. Too,
that's
so
what I
it's like,
mean.
soft. Dude,
He should play.
he's hurt.
I
think
know.
he's like actually
But
hurt.
just
It's
go-
just like it's
But
such
just
a
go
shame.
play, man.
Because
Just
it's not his fault. And look,
it's not his fault,
Look,
but
you could say like fall better or fall less or be more careful with your body, or there's a lot of things you can say that you could, but ultimately, like, it just sucks. Like,
It just
this guy
sucks.
keeps
It
getting
just
hurt,
sucks.
and it just sucks. But it is like he gets hurt every year in the playoffs. It's like it's just
and
like
there's nothing you can do
it
about
feels
it.
like Groundhog
That-
Day.
that's the
Everyone
worst
says that, but
part.
it is. It feels
Yeah.
like it feels like we're back here. We're here
Right.
in this spot again, where the one guy who can win us the title is not going to be.
That's why I kind of think just go out there, even if it's 15
Even
minutes
if you're
tonight,
hobbling.
even if it's 10 minutes, just go out there and be the boost for the team.
Mhm.
I think it would really It would mean a lot if people saw him try to
The big
play.
question is it just pain tolerance or not? It seems like
That's
it
a
is.
tough thing to tell.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to tell. If it's just pain tolerance, then get out there.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, this is the playoffs. Like, but if it's something where you could hurt it worse and not play again in the playoffs, like, that's a different story. So,
yeah,
it's
just all very deflating.
But it seems like Harden's comments made me think it seems like it's a pain tolerance thing.
Harden's
Harden
comments
was
were not
basically
good.
like, bro, play.
I know.
Like, that was a comment.
I agree. I agree. I haven't heard him say it. I've only read him.
Embiid's got, see if he's going to tough this one out. Like, it was like, what?
I was shocked when I saw that.
I was shocked too. And reading up, it's exactly the same.
I know.
Like, there's no difference.
So, anyway, this has been Clap Your Hands. Thank you so much.
Check out
Clap
Your Hands. It is a Sixers run. Look, if they win tonight, maybe,
It'll be a victory pod or just I can't believe this is happening again pod. One or the other. Let's just say the Eagles are clicking on all cylinders. Sixers feels like sadly not.
All right, let's get back to the Eagles thing. I will ask the question that a lot of people have mentioned here and there. I don't know if people really believe it or if it's just a thing or not, but do you think there is any legitimacy to the idea that there might be too many Georgia players at the front of the Eagles?
So I would have made all the picks. So it's hypocritical for me to sit here and say yes. But I don't know. I kind of think it might be too many Georgia players.
Really?
Just at the end of the day, as someone that, if there's one person on this pod that can speak to drama and such, as a reality TV watcher.
No, it's true.
I'm very aware of like how things can get clicky. I think that, again, I would have taken the players. I'm a little worried about the dynamics of this because it's going to be 5 of them now that were all starters on that team that all do things a certain way, that are all already friends. And I think that, you see Slade tweeting about how excited they are to have all these players. And I think there is like a coolness about it. But I also think in a year where things could be difficult, we've talked about this before, it's always hard after the Super Bowl. It just feels this has a potential to be a thing where all the Georgia guys are hanging out or, they want to do things the way I don't know. I'm probably overthinking it, but it just feels weird to me. And it's never happened, right?
Never happened. So it's the first time that 5 players from either a defense or an offense were drafted by the same team in a 2-year period. So this has never happened.
And I just wonder if they thought about this because it happened quickly, right? Like Nolan Smith falls and all of a sudden you have 2. And then Keely Ringo falls. Now they traded up for him. So I'm sure they thought about it.
They took that one.
And they deserve the benefit of culture, like we've talked about, other than Matt Patricia, we've talked about it. But I just wonder, like Nakobe Dean, right? Forget how we feel about him. Let's walk through a hypothetical. Let's say he doesn't have a good camp, right? I don't think they'd cut him, but
there's 0% chance he'd cut. He'd have to be the worst football player we've ever seen in camp for them to cut him.
Maybe. I mean, right, but third round picks do get cut after year 1.
But
not a ton, but
not in the situation the Eagles are in right now with their linebackers. Like they would let the guy go out and play some games before they go.
I just wonder how the dynamics of is it tougher to cut Nakobe now because all of his buddies are there. If you're Nakobe, like let's say we know Jalen Carter is going to play, we know Jordan Davis is going to play, and we know that
Nakobe's going to play.
Nolan Smith is going to play. Those guys are definitely.
Who else is playing linebacker on this team besides Nakobe? Like seriously,
who knows? Who knows who's going to be there in day 1?
Yeah, Nakobe Dean's going to play for this team. He's going to be awesome.
Maybe,
he's going to play.
I'm interested in seeing how the dynamics play out. I am, because for all the positives, there's negatives too. And there are positives. Like I said, I thought
friendship wins. That's
friendship wins. I agree. I agree, but also
friendship wins corner, and then we're like,
I don't know. I mean, am I overthinking this?
Okay, I get your point, and I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm not saying like you how could you think that? Like I think you're overthinking it a bit, but like I don't think it's crazy. I think it's certainly fair things to bring up. I just think that first and foremost, I think you take the best players no matter where they went to school.
And like I said, I would have made the pick.
And this is the best defense in the history of college. One of the best defenses in college football history. Like, if you're going to pick a unit to get guys from, not too bad. You know, so like you pick the best players. So I that first and foremost, I don't think you can say, we already got 2 Georgia guys. We're really going to take a third. I don't think you do that. I think you take the guy you want.
I agree with that.
And then generally because they are the best players because they're
high recruits, all those things. Yeah.
The clicky thing, like I get it. I don't think it's an issue for now in the sense that it's first and second year players. You've been around NFL locker rooms. Like it's just there's enough veteran leadership there in addition to Jalen Hurts, who I think is, and again, it's like I honestly, in my soul, my gut, my heart, whatever, believe that Jalen Hurts is the solve for any of these. Like, I think Jalen Hurts led locker room is going to always be a certain type of thing. Like, there'll be issues that crop up in any locker room, but I think Hurts is a right the ship guy.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm not concerned really about anything. And look, I might be proven wrong on it, but that's just how I feel about Jalen. And then obviously with Nick too, I think Nick is that type of guy too in terms of the culture and all that stuff. But even forgetting that, I just think it's so rare for first and second year players to dominate a locker room. Like, it's really hard. It's like, there are too many veterans.
I wonder if this
guys
will be
who are established and stuff. And I get it. It's a unique situation. I just don't think they're going to be, especially because Davis and Dean weren't great last year. Like, if one of those two guys were like a stud last year and was walking around the locker room with some real cachet, maybe you start to be like, oh, the Georgia guys. Like, I just don't think there's enough cachet for it to actually be a thing in the locker.
What's funny is I was thinking the Eagles probably have better Alabama players on the roster.
Yeah, well, I mean,
if you count Hurts as Alabama, Dickerson, Devontae. I still like Josh Jobe just in terms of upside from last year. No, I like I said, I would have drafted him. It's getting to watch a science experiment in a way, right? See how it plays out. See if things go poorly. I don't know. Is there going to be a bit of resentment? Like, oh, all these Georgia guys. Well, of course he's playing. He's from Georgia. I
had a similar thought to your Nakobe thing, but in a different way. Not in that going to the extreme of Nakobe getting cut and how could they, hey, we're cutting your buddy or whatever. More though, like, because when Jalen Carter talked about Nakobe, he talked about, he's like, that was the guy there.
Right.
Like, he was the leader of that team. Like, he was our everything. Like, that's what he spoke about him. Like, he was the guy.
Yep.
And I always wonder about that type of thing when those guys come here now. Nakobe Dean's a third-round draft pick.
Yeah.
He's like, got to fight for his linebacker spot.
He's a special teamer.
And you're the first-round dude who's about to make $10 million or whatever the number. And it's not $10 million. You know what I mean? He's going to make, like, serious money. And Nakobe Dean's making, $900,000 or whatever it is. Like, does that change those dynamics? Do you still have those roles where does he still look up to Nakobe because of that situation before? Or is he come here and he's like, I'm the big dog now? Like, I was wondering. So that I don't know how that plays out and stuff. It doesn't concern me per se, but it's interesting.
I also think that's why, for some reason, the player I keep thinking of is Nakobe. Because Nakobe,
because he's not on the same level as those guys.
Right. At Georgia,
Ringo would be fourth round too.
True. But at Georgia, from and I didn't cover the team, but from everything you hear, it was Nakobe's the leader, right? Yeah. All these clips of him getting up, all these clips of him like getting up in people's faces and saying, "Yeah, exactly." Yeah. I'm just interested to see now twofold. One, how do they view Nakobe? Yeah. Right? If you're Jalen Carter and Nakobe gets in your face or whatever, I don't know. Do you say, "Yo, bro, you don't even play, so don't worry"? But
you're right.
Or on the flip side, how does Nakobe feel, where these guys come and the last time they saw Nakobe, he was the leader, right? And now he's not. He's just not the leader of that locker room. Like, he's not even close, right? I think he's even on the quiet side. So when it comes to having been around these guys, not me, but them being around each other, you just wonder how things change when they get in the locker room. And it's even another thing, is Jalen Carter thinking to himself, I'd rather be playing next to Jordan Davis? Or if Fletcher Cox feels, well, it doesn't seem like Jalen wants to play next to me. Or are all the Georgia players talking and being like, man, Keely, you should be playing ahead of Brad? So there's those type of dynamics too, where these guys are used to being around each other. And now that's not how it's going to be. They're used to each having their own role around each other. Maybe their roles are different now. So in Sirianni, I do think has great emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
But I think it's something that you have to monitor. I think with Twitter, not just Twitter, but sometimes with these type of questions, there's a pushback of, well, how could you even ask that? That's so silly. I hope the Eagles aren't viewing it that way. I'm not saying it has to be some major thing they worry about, but I do think if your whole thing is going to be like connecting, locker room culture, I just hope they're thinking about it and monitoring it. I hope if they walk in the locker room and they notice a few times, or at the lunchroom and all the Georgia guys are sitting with each other and no one else is with them, just things like that. And this is how you know they had a great draft, because these are the problems we're talking about. So to be clear, neither of us are sitting here saying this is a problem. I just hope they monitor it, because I do think there is potential both for all of them together, but also individually. It could be tough on Nakobe if he's playing special teams and the rest of them are playing, or it could be tough on Jordan Davis if Jalen Carter's playing right away way more than Jordan ever did. So I think it's something worth monitoring. I would have made the picks. You take the players, and I think there's a ton of upside to it too. But as with everything in life, there's positives and negatives to it. So I hope they at least monitor it to make sure early on, especially, like make sure all these lockers aren't next to each. I don't know, just little things just to try to get them outside of their comfort
I think it's
zone.
really
It's
smart.
like when people say when you go to college, there's benefits to going with not knowing anybody.
Sure.
Because if you go with people you just hang with them, you do the
sure.
same things. And I think that's a little bit of this here.
Yeah, look, it could be. And again, I'm not concerned about it, but I agree with you that it should be something that they are aware of. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, I think for Jalen Carter particularly is the one that if you're the Eagles, you're making it an point to pay. And I guess Ringo to an extent too. We don't really know too much, but
right.
fall and stuff with Davis and Dean and Nolan Smith. Those seem like guys who've never really had any of the. I guess Davis, the work ethic, you could say a little.
Yeah, well, his almost just seemed more.
He's so big.
Yeah,
it's like almost just like it's hard to stay in shape into that big.
Right.
But
shout out Joel.
Yeah, shout out Joel. I do think it's to your point. It's something where you want to make sure that they know that they're in Philadelphia and they're not Georgia anymore.
Exactly.
Ultimately that you might have done something there like this, and even both you might have done something like this. We do it this way here and stuff like that, and there might be moments like that. I don't know. There might be, but I, on the whole, I'm not concerned about it. But I agree with you. It is something that they should be aware of.
And with Jalen Carter, and this is why I think Fletcher is the guy that has to do it.
You hold on, everyone, listen. If you did not hear our show on Saturday, Elliot said this kind of offhandedly. We were talking about it for a minute.
We can go into it more now.
I texted him later. I texted you after the show. I was like, I thought this was a really great point by you. I fully agree. Go ahead. I think it's an important thing to monitor.
I think Fletcher should be the one. Fletcher Cox should be the one that takes responsibility for Jalen Carter. I think, you hear so often, Ike Reese talks about it all the time, how, the players when he was a rookie that helped him, he thanks them so much, right? And you hear it from all types of players, Jason Kelce will thank coaches, but also young, guys that were there when he was younger. So ultimately, Fletcher Cox's career, to a certain extent, is cemented in Philadelphia. One of the best defensive players to ever play here. One of the best defensive linemen. Will go in the Eagles Hall of Fame. Won a Super Bowl. Might get legit Hall of Fame consideration. I think one thing he could do to add to his legacy is to make it in 10 years if Jalen Carter is up there saying, and it was Fletcher Cox that helped me. When I came to the NFL, I wasn't ready. You all remember the off-the-field concerns. And Fletcher was the one that took me under his wing. And Howie talked about this at his thing where it shouldn't be on other players, especially Nakobe and Jordan Davis, to take care of Jalen Carter. And so I understand it's not on Fletcher Cox contractually. But I would hope that for everything the Eagles have done for Fletcher as well, and Fletcher's done a ton for them, but for everything they have done for him, bringing him back after down years, having his back publicly.
Last year, cutting him, doing the $14 million thing.
And getting him the $14 million back.
Yeah.
I think Fletcher owes it to the organization to put some extra time into Jalen Carter, right? Not 24/7, but, try to hang out with him early on. Text him. Be like, hey, I'm getting to the facility at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Meet me there. Or just little things like that. Because I do think Jalen Carter, we all know about the physical tools, but he does need somebody that isn't a coach, that isn't a friend, that isn't, his agent, that's going to care about what he's doing. And Fletcher is the perfect person to do that. Text him on a Friday night and be like, hey, what are you doing? Even if you're not hanging out with him, just to make sure he's not, whatever, right? I think it could be really good for Fletcher's legacy to say, I helped Jalen Carter become the next me. And he has a chance to do that.
I think this is such a great point. To your point, it is the Eagles technically can't ask that of a player, right? Like it's
yeah. I mean, Nick can say to him,
they can say to him, but I'm saying it's like it's not his job,
correct?
Unquote,
yeah.
Right? But this organization has done so much for Fletcher Cox, especially in these last few years, where this city has been ready to ship that dude out.
Yep.
And they keep bringing him back, and they keep fighting for him, and they let him make comments about Gannon and this and that, and whatever. Like, this is a spot where, to your point, like, even if he doesn't care for himself or doesn't care about the Eagles, like, Fletcher Cox is the one. Like, there are three people on this team. I mean, Lane too, but, like, even before.
No, there's a core three. I agree. Kelsey, Graham, and Cox.
Kelsey, Graham, and Cox.
Yeah.
They were here the longest, and they were part of the Super Bowl team. They're the best players on it, and they've been here such a long time, and they mattered so much and all that. But, like, I mean, and yes, it's part of its personality and the way they talk to us, interact with us, but BG and Kelsey are light years out of Cox. Like, Cox
in terms of popularity, sure. Yeah.
In terms of how much the fans love them, like, Cox isn't even in their hemisphere.
Yep,
like, Lane's above Cox in that.
For sure. And Jalen's already more popular than Fletcher's ever been.
And this is an opportunity for a guy who deserves that from a playing perspective. He's one of the best Eagles defensive players of our lifetime. Like, he's going to go into the Eagles Hall of Fame. Like, all these things, like, to your point, will be I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but he's like a next step down. Like, he's a great, great player. But he's not beloved in this city in that way. Like, he deserves to be as a player. This alone,
this could do it.
This one thing could do it.
Yeah, 100%. So and he is a team captain for what it's worth too. So I do think, again, to circle it all back to the Georgia stuff, if Jalen Carter would have gone to somewhere where there's no Georgia players, I think he's better off with his friends here ultimately at the end of the day. But if he would have gone somewhere where he didn't know anybody, then I think he's almost more likely to change how he does things because you have to conform as opposed to having a bit of a crutch to do things how you've always done it. I think it has to be on the Eagles. It has to be on Jalen Carter. But it also, I think, should be on Fletcher to make sure that Jalen Carter develops the right habits as a rookie. And so to tie the bow in the whole Georgia thing, Fletcher can be someone that makes sure it doesn't become a problem.
Yeah, and again, there's the same position. Both played at SEC.
Yeah, he'll be in every meeting with them. He'll be at the positional drills
with
them.
He's the perfect person.
He's the perfect person. This is teed up for him. Again, in the meetings, at individual practices with him, in the defensive line meeting room, the defensive meeting room. Like he is everywhere Jalen will be. And so I hope, and I tweeted this and I wanted to make sure people don't take it the wrong way. I'm not saying that he won't do it. I'm saying I hope that he does it. Yeah. I think it's in his personality to do it. And I think at this point in his career, it's a good place for it to happen. If he was in his 8th year, then I would say, whatever. But now that he's older and he's been here longer, this is when he's at that point of his career. And it's the perfect chance to do it.
I totally agree. I think it's a great point. I couldn't be more in on it.
Let's hope he is.
Yeah, well, I'm not counting on him.
I don't know. He's hard to read, but I think it would be really good for him. I think he would also get a lot of personal satisfaction.
I think it would really change his legacy here. I think it could be something that it really wouldn't be that much effort for him and could really change how he's viewed in a really positive way. I think in the long term, it'd be a really smart thing for him to do. We'll see if he does it. He has not shown that to us, at least in the past. So, all right, you got anything else?
Yeah. So, as part of the Howie victory lap, there's been a lot on Twitter of people, well, look, he got DeAndre Swift and blah, blah, blah. Like, their running back room cost $2 million. And look at this amazing group of running backs they have, blah, blah, blah. I like the DeAndre Swift signing or trade. I would have made the trade. I think his numbers are better than I expected. I think it's a good pickup. But at the end of the day, the Eagles are spending 2, whatever it is, or 3, whatever their cap hits are for these guys combined, and it's probably more than 2. It's probably 3 or 4.
Total. It's
total. Because Penny alone, I think, is 1.7.
I think it's 1.7 for Swift. It's Penny's somewhere in that range. I think it might be less than that.
Yeah.
I think, funny enough, Boston Scott, the highest paid guy in the room. I think he's 1.9.
Okay, so it's way more than 2.
But it's probably like $5.5 million for the
There's been a lot of this is how you manage a running back room. And there's truth to that in a lot of ways. But let's not get it twisted. Like the Eagles running back room is not as good as it would have been if they got Bijan Robinson. It's not as good as it would have been if they would have, acquired Derrick Henry or somebody or an expensive running back. Howie has a cost-effective running back room that has upside. But the running back room is also filled with a ton of questions, and there is still no sure thing. Swift is probably the surest thing. But Swift, as good as his numbers were last year, Detroit decided to move on from him. We are both big Dan Campbell fans. I think that's pretty clear. It always has been. They have decided to move on from him, right? He barely touched the ball last year after early on in the season. So while I like the player, I would have made the trade. Penny has upside. We can go through each of them. I'm even intrigued by Trey Sermon. This idea that Howie has put together a concrete, amazing running back room is not true. There are still questions to be had about whether or not they have dependable running backs on their roster.
Sure, but I think that's their point. Philosophically, there's a reason. It's a $5 million room for 4 guys or whatever, 5.5 or 6 or whatever. That's the point. That's what they're trying to do. And I think in that case, in what they were attempting to do, I think they've done a masterful job. You got 2 guys who you like as backup guys in game on. Scott, who can do multiple things for you. And then you got 2 shots on guys who, if either one stays on the field and lives up to their potential, like, you got a stud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I get your point. And, both Penny and Swift stay healthy,
if they do, they'll be in great
they could have a great room.
They could, absolutely.
I get your point. It could have been better, but, considering the cost, I think he did a pretty damn good job filling out the room.
I like Swift a lot. Again, my opinions on Penny have been.
You just wanted Bijan.
I wanted Bijan, but what I also hate is the whole.
Now that people are
exactly
right.
I
told you.
All these people wanted Bijan.
I don't understand how anyone can come out and be like, who knows?
Yeah.
We will never know.
We'll never know
whether
if they would have taken
him or not. Because he went at 8. 100%. I don't understand. How could anyone take a victory lap?
Right.
They didn't have a chance to take. What are we talking about?
And obviously, we were all correct about how good Bijan was, but also, a lot of people wanted Bijan before. And what I do really appreciate about Eagles Twitter, and I see some of this in myself, in them. I am very good at when something happens of convincing myself, well, this is the better outcome anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very good at tricking myself in that way. And you see that with Eagles Twitter. And again, me too, where
but this was the better outcome. Jalen Carter is better than Bijan Robinson. He is a better guy to end up in that pick.
I will begrudgingly know that the correct answer to that is yes. I'm just saying, let's not act like they're just as good off in that running back room as they were I don't
think anyone's saying it's as good as if they got Bijan.
People are acting like it's close. It's not even close. Bijan Robinson is way better than, we're projecting, is way better than any running back they have.
Sure.
Just point blank, period. So I would have taken Jalen Carter. I get it. If I had to make the pick, that's the pick I would have made. For as much praise as how he deserves, and look, we started the pod saying we shouldn't question him. I'll probably end up being wrong. I'm sure week 7 we'll be sitting here and going, oh my God, Swift and Penny are the best running back duo in the league. That's probably what's going to happen. I hate the whole, how he ended up better anyway. I don't know, man. I mean, Miles Sanders is better than anybody they have. So
well, again, it's all relative. It's money versus what it costs.
I get that.
The not having to use the draft pick on it. And it's like, we can't really deduce that. But yes, Bijan Robinson is better than the guys they have. But I think considering how they went about it, they did a damn good job.
Yeah, the Swift trade worked out great for them.
Yeah, I think between Swift and Penny, you got 2 shots at a home run,
Dude, I have so many banger final thoughts. I can't decide what to even start with.
All right, well, let's get there. You want me to do it? I don't even know if I have. You want to do 2? Because I don't think I have any. I actually don't have anything. I have. All
right, so should I do 2?
Yeah, do yours. Literally, all I have was last night. Zoe saying, "Can someone go downstairs for me? Because I do not feel like going."
Amen.
What are you doing?
What a relatable feeling.
That was it. That's all I got.
It's funny to think she's already so tired.
Yeah, it's also just so who are you?
You couldn't even walk 2 years ago, and now you're ungrateful about it. Yeah, I've been walking for years. It's not exciting for me anymore. It should still be a little fun for you to go downstairs.
Why don't you give us 2? You had so many.
Okay.
Double up.
So I'll go with
a double deal.
Yeah, double deal, exactly.
See? There it is.
I'll go with the shorter one. I'll go with the shorter one first. So I think there's always so much debate about, what's the best type of food? Italian, Mexican, Chinese, I don't think anyone would really say American food, but of those
burgers,
those things, right? So I think whenever I sit there to order things, I always have trouble deciding. But what's so wild to me is for dinner, there's so many options, but I don't think you order Chinese for lunch. You would order Mexican, you would order, pizza, Italian, you'd order burgers. But I think of all the main, order out foods, you never think about it as a lunch one. Okay. For me, it's very much a dinner thing.
Okay.
I think it's because you get very tired after you eat it. It's like, at least for me, I eat a ton of dumplings. Right. So in my head,
you get very tired.
I get very tired. I would, I probably get tired after pasta too. But no,
I get your point. It's, I think that's I wouldn't say I've definitely had it for lunch, but you're right. I think about Chinese a lot more for dinner than for lunch.
I don't think it's. I think you can get it quickly in the food court or those type of things, but I don't think you're ordering a large amount of Chinese for lunch.
I don't hate it. I'll co-sign this take.
All right, I have 2 more good ones, but I will go with.
Oh, this is so dramatic.
Okay. All right. So me and Kristen hung out. We hung out all the time, but on Friday, Saturday night, we hung out. The draft was over. We went out, we got drinks and all those things. I wake up in the morning and I have this on my phone and I think it's brilliant. Okay. So I think the most impactful decision of all time made by any human is that we just accept eyebrows on our face. All right, think about this, right?
Hold on.
All right, think about this. Ready?
Decision, they're just there.
But think about this, right? So
that we don't shave them off.
Women are and look, women can wear however they want to wear their, but it is expected that women remove their facial hair, right? They don't grow it as much, but also it's not socially acceptable. It didn't used to be. At one point, someone made that decision, right? Or guys. At one point, it was decided guys should shave or not, whatever. Imagine if the first group of humans were just you don't really need eyebrows. It's you just shave them off. That's how it's done. We'd all be shaving our eyebrows for the rest of our lives.
Hold up. You realize the first group of humans weren't shaving anything. They all.
I know, but I'm saying, imagine if whenever decisions were made, if the group of people then were eyebrows.
There's nothing. So you mean because we shave?
We shave every other part of our body that has hair. There is some type of social norm or some type of social bar.
Eyelashes.
don't know if I consider those hair, but
what do you mean? They're hair.
Well, I'm saying, but also girls do put on fake eyelashes, so
Sure.
those are altered in some way too. And girls do their eyebrows, but
girls definitely do their eyebrows.
yes, but like no one shaves their eyebrows off. It's the one piece of hair we just keep there. But if a long time ago everyone's like, you know what, it's going to become the cool thing to just shave your eyebrows off, there's a real chance we would be shaving our eyebrows. What purpose do they serve? We shave our facial hair, we cut our hair, right? So if at one point someone decided, whenever original hair decisions were made, that eyebrows are pointless, we would not have eyebrows. That's how it would be, because it would be the norm.
Yeah, well, they grow back so quick. It would be like a.
So does facial hair.
Yeah.
Not mine, but
so.
I'm saying, think about it. We have it,
yeah.
and it serves no purpose.
Yeah.
We completely like take care of our facial hair, acceptable, not acceptable, cool ways,
Pluck
uncool
our
ways.
eyebrows. People pluck our eyebrows all the time.
But no one ever just shaves them off.
I know. This is a really weird one. I get what you're going for.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I think so. I see what you're saying, but it's also like, I mean, how did you get here?
I'm telling you, I woke up and it was in my phone.
Oh God. So there we go. I mean,
And there's actually another level to it, but I'm not going to say it on the pod. But think about it. It's the one piece of
I love how you led this with it was the most important decision in human history.
the decision to keep eyebrows impacts every single human on the planet. What other decisions would you say impacts? There might be some that also do
I'm
it,
sure there's tons. Man.
but this one impacts everybody. If it became socially acceptable at one point to not have eyebrows, none of us would have eyebrows anymore. But because we don't care, we just keep them there.
Sure.
It's true. Think of all the norms we have about hair on our body. The eyebrows are the only one we don't have a social norm about.
Yeah, I guess.
There is no
eyelashes. I told you another one. But
they're not eyebrows for what it's worth. But
yeah. No, I know. I'm saying your eyelashes. There's no social norms with that.
Well, but girls do wear
girls
fake eyebrows.
Pluck your eyebrows. I pluck my eyebrows in between here. Emily plucks that spot right there because I've got a unibrow.
Unibrow's a fair point.
I pluck this once a month.
So unibrow actually backs my point up that if we all decided that unibrows were okay, no one would have to worry about unibrows. And people should wear hair however they want. But ultimately, if people decided that you shouldn't have eyebrows like 400 years ago, none of us would have eyebrows. It's true. A social norm was decided that eyebrows, they don't serve a purpose unless I'm missing
to see
it.
The audience response to this one. Please let us know what you think of the eyebrow.
People are going to either love it or
is it
hate
deep or is it?
Well, they don't serve a purpose, do they? I mean, if
don't
someone
know,
wants to tell me
maybe.
a purpose of an eyebrow, I'd be interested to hear it.
I mean,
So-
shading your eyes.
So they're purely cosmetic,
Maybe.
right? What other cosmetic thing do we have that? Yeah, look it up.
There's stuff.
I don't know. I think every other cosmetic decision has like some type of norm, but I feel like with eyebrows, we're just like, yeah, they're just there.
Eyebrows serve a. Okay, here we go.
I'm
The first
I'm
and most
gonna need
obvious
a lot of
function is
evidence
to
on
keep
this.
our eyes clear of liquids such as sweat or rain. Makes sense, of course.
Sweat, I can see.
It just, I'm telling you.
I know.
it's,
All right.
Evolutionarily speaking.
Okay.
The brow's arch shape diverts liquid around the eyes and to the sides of our face, keeping any water or salty sweat out of our eyes. Let's see what else does that give out the article. Eyebrows also serve an important social function,
Here we go.
helping us express ourselves as people. We can tell if people are surprised, sad, angry.
But there's no way people in like King Arthur's time were thinking this. They were making all types of decisions just based off, how they thought things looked. Like if
basically all to keep stuff out of your eyes, like eyelashes to keep sand and debris out.
but think about this. Think about this, right? What if King Arthur woke up one day and said, "I'm gonna shave my eyebrows off," and it became like, "Oh, it's the whoever." Whoever like a
real.
well, someone. All right, whatever. King Henry. I don't know. I'm sure they're whatever. I'm talking about a king from way back in the day.
There might have been an Arthur.
Yeah.
At one point
If one king back in the day decided to shave his eyebrows, it's like on Seinfeld where they decided to start cutting their candy with and it became the classy thing to do. If at one point 500 years ago someone was like, "I'm going to shave my eyebrows off," there's a real chance that today it would be poor class to have eyebrows.
I'm going to end this guy.
Okay, that's all I got. I have 3 different versions of that tape.
I
so.
also love that you just woke up and it was there. It's like
Yeah,
the
it was in my
tape-
Go
the
Birds.
immaculate tape.
It was. I'm happy I wrote it down.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think it's a good
everyone
one.
who's on to it. I need to know what you think. We'll be back later in the week. Parks Pod, more other stuff. Obviously, everything's coming up Eagles, buddy. Oh, schedule next week too. Maybe
The schedule next week. So that'll be fun. We'll do our win-loss off my
Alright.
mock schedule.
This is great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Keep your eyebrows tight, all right, buddy.
Might have to be the pod.
James. Why is their title? Eyebrows are weird.
Let me see if there's any comments on that.
Yes. Does anyone have any eyebrow comments here?
Yeah, eyebrows do not serve a purpose. They just don't, period. I agree. This is the type of hot take
The
you hear.
emotion,
Melly was
you're
a
right,
robot,
Jay. See,
and
that's
the
what I'm
robot
saying.
started malfunctioning. I would agree with that. ESP wants a Brazilian wax for eyebrows. Eyebrows do serve a purpose. They block the sun.
Yeah,
I'd be
it's
curious to
his
know
thing.
if you knew that because it was only 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
ESP is surely too much time. All right. So
All
we
right,
got
cool.
got
A
some
little bit of
eyebrow stuff
reaction there.
happening.
That's good.
all right. See you guys.
Bye, guys.